Hello everybody. Please, we're going to excuse the fact that I look like an emperor penguin. Fluffy little things coming out of my head. I'd like to say it's to do with having a baby, but I had them before that. Just got lots of little like broken hairs, to be honest, but anyway, we're just going to get over that. Hello, welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're a returning customer, then thank you for coming back and supporting my channel. It is very much appreciated, especially when I am #1 rambler in the whole of the country, I'm pretty sure by now. I'm just getting the questions up on my phone because this video, funnily enough, you've clicked on it, you know what it's about, is going to be a Q&A. And I asked people to ask me questions. I even like persuaded my friends. I was like, please ask me a question because otherwise I'm going to look like an idiot. My friends pretty much didn't, but lucky enough you guys did, and some people on my Instagram. So I've got all my questions here and I'm just going to answer them for you. If you're, well, somebody must be interested because they asked the question or they felt forced to. I'm not sure which one. But I'm going to do a quick Q&A for you, keep it as snappy as I possibly can, and yeah, hopefully you can get to know me a little bit better. And if there is any other questions that you want to ask, just drop them in the comments below and maybe I can do a part 2. Who knows? So the first question I got was, what is your favourite movie? And also in the same box said, and favourite food. So my favourite movie is going to surprise you, I think. I really like war films and like MI5 secret spy films. I'm a really girly person, but one of my favourite films ever is Fury. No, it's not. Inglourious, I don't want to say it. I do like Fury. That is also a good film. Inglourious Bastards. Oh, I've just sworn on YouTube. Probably going to get in trouble. Love that film. I also really love Taken because I love Liam Neeson. So any films like that, any like solving mystery, like solving things or ones that keep you in suspense, my favourite kind of films. And like I said, I really like a war film. I don't think there's been a single war film that I've seen that I don't like. I like the one about the sniper, what's it called? Enemy at the Gates or Behind the Gates? I'm not sure, with Jude Law in it, one of my favourites. And moving on to food. By the way, I don't really like a chick flick. And so many people would be surprised about that. And I'm not really into like American comedies because, to be honest, they just don't make me laugh. What I will say, there is another, and this is just me all over, here we go, like going around the houses and I'm like, oh, I remember I like that film. The In-Betweeners films. Every single time, even though I could probably recite them word for word, they are my favourite films. We're going through In-Betweeners. Scrap all the war films. In-Betweeners, the first movie. Anytime that I want to be lifted or have a good giggle, it's that film. And also, I should tell you, and there's more. Also, I should tell you, the last film that I watched, and it's now got like, gives me PTSD, it's another one of my favourites, is Kevin and Perry. And I watched it when I was in, well, I say I was in labour. I was having contractions at home with Olive. And now I'm just like, I can't watch that film ever again. It's going to give me such bad flashbacks. But I also like that film. So English comedy makes me laugh a lot more. I do have one more film. See, when people ask me what my favourite song is, I can't choose. It's whatever mood I'm in. There is one film that this is the last one I'm going to talk about, that Jasmine introduced me to, and I'd never watched it until the ripe old age of 36. Angus Thongs and Perfect Snogging. What a film! What a film! Had never watched it, and I feel so stupid because obviously it was clearly made for like teenagers, and I'm like, I love it. I feel like a massive little void of my childhood was missed. So thank you, Jasmine, and that is one of my favourites. If we're moving on to food, I'd like to compile a death row meal for you if that's okay. So for starters, or actually we'll start with appetizers. So while we wait for things, will either be warm crusty bread, sourdough particularly, or like some, in Chili's in America they give you like these chips and dips. I know it sounds basic, but they're salsa and they're tortilla chips. Their tortilla chips are really thin and really like kind of oily. They're so good with a little salsa dip. I'd have that. And then for my starter would always be, and if I ever see this on a menu, it's like top tier, and I don't mean the sticks, I mean the proper Italian style fried mozzarella in a pomodoro sauce. It can't be the little sticks because they're just rubbish. We can all get them from the supermarket and bung them in the oven. It's not like that. I make my own, and I will do a recipe on it because it's just the best you'll ever have. Fried mozzarella, tomato sauce, and then for my main, it would be probably a chicken Kiev. I'm a real like old soul like that. Chicken Kiev or a chicken parmo. I love that. And then my dessert would always be banoffee pie. So that's my favourite foods. That was a long question number one. We're already on 6 minutes, so this is going to be take a while. Right, I've got a baby related question here. Do you still feel like you? Everyone told me I'd change being a mum, and I still feel like me. I do still feel like me. My friends have been really kind to me. One of my friends voice noted me the other day saying, you look like the best version of yourself, like you're glowing, which I thought was only supposed to happen in pregnancy. And then, to be honest, I do feel like I'm glowing. My body feels absolutely kaput. I don't know what's happened to my joints since I've been pregnant. I've read up on it. It can be like a temporary thing. I hope I haven't got anything like rheumatoid arthritis from having it. I don't know if that's the thing that you can get, but I've read a few things and I'm like, close the laptop, Tiff, close it. I don't want to hear la la la. I don't want to hear what it could have. You know what Google's like? We're all dead if we've got a cough. So yeah, that was a bit of a silly thing to do because now I'm just like, oh God, what have I got? So yeah, my body doesn't feel great. So I don't feel like me in that way. Like I thought after having a baby, my body would just go, because I kept saying towards the end of the pregnancy, I just want my body back. And don't get me wrong, I was never a really active, fit person in the first place, but had a very active job and my body, for all intents purposes, was good. But I am a lot achier and pain. I'm in a lot more pain than I ever was. But my mind feels probably one of the healthiest it's ever felt. What I would say, me and Sean are arguing a lot more. I think that's to do with tiredness. I think it's to do with navigating, you know, babies. We've been together nearly 9 years. So I don't think it's just an us thing. I just think it's a difficult part in your relationship. But yeah, I've been really lucky. Olive is the sort of baby, she's just moulded into our lives. We've still been able to go out for meals. Tomorrow we're going to see friends for a games night. We're just taking her with us. We're really lucky. She's a good sleeper. She's not really had any I know so many parents can struggle with like allergies, with milk allergies and colic and sickness. We've been really lucky. I'm touching every bit of wood. Sorry, I've got hay fever at the minute. I swear that's what's doing this. So sorry if I keep grunting. But yeah, I do still feel like me. I actually feel like a slightly better version of me, even though I feel very spread thin is what I would say. I do prefer going out with Olive because I feel like I've got this real identity as like a mum now, and I don't mind my jelly belly when I'm out with her because I'm like, look, this is from her. I didn't have this before her. The joke is I actually did have a big stomach before her, so I'm like, now I can blame it on the baby, not on the cake. But I feel really confident when I'm out with her, and I like my new identity as a mum. So in a way, in a nutshell, yes, I do still feel like myself. And again, I was talking to a friend about this and she summed it up perfectly. And that is because we wanted her for so long. So we tried for Olive for 5 years, if you're new here. For 5 years we tried for a baby. And I think in that time we convinced ourselves that we weren't going to have one. And we went out and we did absolutely everything. There's only one thing that we never did that I would not regret, but I wish I had, and that was Route 66. I wish I'd travelled America because I love America. I wish we'd done that, but apart from that, there's nothing that I feel like I'm missing out on. And she was saying that when you have a baby that's like a surprise or a bit of a shock, or when you're just trying and they just pop along whenever, and there's no sort of issues, I think maybe in your head you're thinking, oh, it'll take a while, and then it's like, surprise, baby's here. Then maybe you can feel like a bit in shock, and that's maybe when you don't feel like yourself because you maybe weren't quite ready. I don't know. That's what she was saying, and I was like, do you know what, that's probably right. I literally made sure we had, me and Sean were at the point when we were bored. We were like, something's got to be more to life than this, going to the cinema, going for a meal. I was like, I'm actually quite bored. I want, you know, we wanted this next stage in our life. So So yeah, I think that sort of geared me up to the fact that I was gonna love, like, I absolutely love being a mum, and I like this new me. So yeah, I think that answers the question, I hope. How's Grace been with Olive? She's been really, really good. She's very protective. She's only a little dog anyway. There's been no nastiness, but I must admit I have felt quite sad because she does look a little bit sad sometimes. I hate saying that, because obviously when I came back from hospital, I had a C-section. She's a little dog, she's a lap dog. She was trying to jump on my stomach on the sofa. She was trying to jump on Olive. She just didn't realise that obviously you can't walk over a baby. So we did have to keep her off the sofa for a few weeks just till I healed. And oh, I felt so guilty. She looked really sad in her bed. We tried to give her loads of attention, but there's only so much, and you'll only understand this if you've got a pet that used to be your baby, basically. Grace was our baby, and if you've had a baby, I'm hoping a few of you'll understand how, like, the dynamics shift and you feel so guilty. But last night was the first night that we had Grace on the bed with us. Don't come for me. We sometimes have our dog on the bed if we feel guilty, like that she hasn't had enough attention in the day. And she loves sleeping with us because little dogs love your body warmth. And she was as good as gold, and I hope that she felt like a little bit more attention from us, because I just feel really guilty. And I remember crying to Jasmine about it. I was like, I feel really bad for Grace, because they know something's different. So yeah, I felt a bit guilty about that. Will you take Olive to Disney? I would take her tomorrow if I could. It's the aeroplane that freaks me out. Because to be honest with you, I've always been really good at finding Florida cheaper than a lot of English holidays. So it's not the cost, and I know she won't remember it, but it's more for like us to see her reaction to the lights and the parades and stuff if we were to take her in a few months. We love Florida so much. I haven't been since the Panny-Do. I hate that word, but I feel like if I say the other word, it'll get flagged. We haven't been since then. So I would 100%, I'm taking her one day. I just need to get the courage to be that parent on the airplane that everybody hates because their kid is crying. So not yet. Oh god, that's such a parent, isn't it? In a bit, maybe in a bit. Oh god, I am the person I hate. Which kids programs are you looking forward to show Olive? Everything from the 90s. Gummy Bears, Sesame Street, what else? Oh, Mona the Vampire. I can't wait to show her. I can't believe I just sang that out there. I'm really passionate about nostalgia. And Spider in the Bath, what else? Poddington Peas, Rosie and Jim, Todd's TV. I can't wait. I love it. The raccoons. I'm really excited because I think she ain't watching Peppa Pig. She ain't watching Bluey. I don't, no disrespect. I know it, the kids love them. I know adults love them. Miss Rachel, I've heard about her. I'm sorry, I just think the 90s or the early 2000s was just elite for children's entertainment, and I'm gonna try. She's gonna be like really uncool when she gets to school, isn't she? She'll be like, hey guys, did you see episode 110 of Sesame Street last night? And they'll be like, no, we're not Victorian, Tiff. No, Olive, god, I won't be going to school. She's just gonna be so unpopular because she's gonna be talking, she's not gonna be relevant, is she? So yeah, I can't wait to show her. Like, me and Sean have had days before where we've put on YouTube and watched some of the old episodes of like He-Man, Biker Mice from Mars, Dexter's Laboratory, all those things. Like, it's elite television, and I won't have anyone say anything else but congratulations. Did you have a boy's name before you found out Olive's gender? I've said before, I 100% from the day that I knew I was pregnant was absolutely adamant I was having a girl, and we had loads of weird signs on our holiday that her name was going to be Olive. It's just weird. But because we've been trying for so long, I always had in my head a boy's and a girl's name. Like, I'm that lunatic that has on Pinterest like her wedding day planned before she's even found a boyfriend, her baby's bedrooms planned before I could conceive, the baby's outfits before. I'm just a bit weird, guys, but I think a lot of you can relate if you're being honest with me. Every girl has a marriage page, but they just don't let anyone see it. And And yes, we always had the name Dougie because that's my granddad's name and it's one of my favourite names for a boy. And then obviously Hey Dougie is like a popular thing now. So I was really glad to know that it's not going to be too like, Dougie. But it would be spelled D-O-U-G-I-E. And my granddad's name's Douglas, but everyone calls him Dougie. But I am going to do a video after this one actually. I'm going to film 2 videos today. And I'm going to do like the names that we were thinking about that we didn't use. So yes, Dougie was going to be our boy's name. There was no other contenders really. We had like a list of names that I like, but it was always going to be Dougie. So the next question I had was, what do you do for work? And I guess if you've been here for a while, you'll probably know, but I am a chocolatier. I have my own company called Chunky Dunk Chocs. I'll leave it in the description if you want to have a little snoop. But yeah, we make handmade chocolate and I get to work with one of my best friends. So it's pretty awesome. We've been going for 6 years in November. And I can honestly say, this is the hardest year I've ever encountered. Because of the cost of living. I thought that last year was difficult with like stock shortages and stuff. This is the worst. This is the absolute worst. But we're still going, and hopefully I started this little space on YouTube years ago, but obviously picking it back up for number one because I want memories for Olive, and number two, it would be great if I could make a tiny bit of money through my videos from watch time so that we can support Chunky Dunks, because it is a really hard time and people haven't got the money to spend on luxuries or small businesses and online anymore as much as they used to. So I really want to keep my business going, so I just thought, why not do something I really enjoy and hopefully make a little bit of money towards it so that I can keep my other baby, Chunky Dunk Chucks, going. So if you fancy any chocolate and you'd like to support a small business, like I say, I will pop the link below. But yeah, that's what I do and I really, really love it. And that's the other bit about it. I love it a lot, so I don't want to see it close. The other question I had was girl's name I love but wouldn't use. Again, I'm going to answer this in a video that I'm going to do after this one. What is your favourite bit of nostalgia from the 90s? I love that you guys have picked up on these questions. This was actually from my friend Gemma Louise Miles, who shouted me out kindly on her channel. I know that lots of you will like her. Isn't this the most annoying part of an outfit? Get back in, but you can't cut it off. If you cut it off, we're in the danger zone in the wardrobe. Me and Gemma love the 90s, so do me and my friend Jasmine. Like, we just talk about it a lot, and I want to just say I miss everything from the 90s. I miss how carefree we were. I wonder if that's everyone's childhood or if that's just specifically, you know, for your era. But there was no like camera phones, kids were just kids, and we had e-numbers. I miss penny sweets. Penny sweets are not penny sweets anymore, they're like 2p to 5p. I miss the Woolworths pick and mix where you could jam as much in as you could. I miss the lucky bags where it was like such a surprise what you would get in them. I miss the smell of Play-Doh. Oh, it doesn't smell the same, guys, anymore. It does not smell the same. Probably taking the numbers out of that. Yeah, just carefree. Kids could play out and you literally had your watch, or you would come back when the street lights started to come on. Like, you didn't need, you know, kids just don't play out as much anymore, do they? Because there's so much like worry in the world. I miss baked bean pizzas. I miss everything's food related, Tiff. Calm down. I just love the telly. I love the like Generation Game, Kids Say the Funniest Things. Can I just name drop that Michael Barrymore is actually my friend on TikTok? Just thought I'd let you know that. That was just like ultimate life goals. When I saw he was following me, I was like, so yeah. I just love the Gladiators. What else did I used to love watching? Mr. Blobby, was it Noel's House Party? It was just great. CB, I used to love coming home with my school uniform on, getting nagged from my parents to take it off, and just watching CBeebies with like a sherbet fountain, just living my best life. No worries, no bills, no stress, no online trolling and bullying. It was just great. It's a great time to be alive, kids. The next set of questions were actually on a video, and now I need to find what video it was. I'm not very organised, but like it was a chunk of questions that I got asked, and I can't, there was a lot, so bear with me. I cannot tell you how long that took me to find this set of questions, but we're here. So, like to hear about my background, your family. So, I don't speak to my family, my immediate family. So my mum, dad and brother, I don't speak to. I touched on this on my video. It's gone from happy joy to I touched on this on my fertility journey because I do believe cutting toxic people out of your life makes a huge difference to your mindset and how your life sort of like pans out. I don't speak to them, don't have a good I never really have had a good relationship with them. Very different, even from a child. And got to the age of 35 and just felt like, do you know what, enough's enough, and decided to break that relationship. And I can honestly say I've never been happier in my whole life than I am now. And I've got my own family, obviously very, very close to my auntie, who they actually tried to turn us against, which is quite funny. My auntie actually is staying with us until she finds her own place and a job and stuff. So she's from Jersey originally. Well, she's originally from here, but she lived in Jersey for a while. Really close to my grandparents. My grandparents, we were here like every weekend when we were kids. Thank God, because I think they shaped me to be the person that I am now. Thank God I'm nothing like my family. So yes, I don't really have a relationship with family, but my dad, if you're talking about background, mum is a Geordie. No, she's not, she's a Mackham. You can't call yourself Geordie apparently. And my dad is half, we think Indian. He was adopted, so we think Indian, and we know that his mum was Swedish. So I've got a little mixture in me, but we still haven't found my real granddad, so that's a shame. Don't know if we ever will. But that's about my background. And then my work, so I did my A-levels, went on to do beauty. I did the BTEC in beauty when I don't know if they even still do BTECs anymore. And then I worked in a salon for years. Then from that I went to work in property. I valued Jimmy Savile's houses, the Mole Man, all sorts of really interesting properties. We worked in probate, so I'd value properties for like the executors of the wills and stuff, like the banks, so that the family could sell the house and release the equity. So I did that for a number of years, and I really loved that job because I felt like I was doing some good, and I just love looking at people's houses. I really am quite nosy when it comes to things like that. And then I went and did a job in retail as a manager in New Look, which I absolutely hated. Worst job I've ever done. Worst job I've ever done. That was literally a big mistake. But, you know, gave me some life experience, and I also met some lovely friends out of it. And I do believe sometimes jobs aren't right for us, but they lead us on to friendships that then lead us on to opportunities and just lasting bonds for life. So I did that, and then I went and worked for nearly 2 years in a HR role, which again I didn't like. I loved the job, but I didn't like being Mr. Mean. I'm not very like direct like that, so it didn't really suit me. But I did loads of the social events, which I loved doing, and charity and stuff like that, so that was really good. And then from then I went on to do my own makeup business. So I was a makeup artist, freelance, and beauty, like doing eyelashes, nails. And then the chocolate started on a whim. I did it alongside the beauty, and it then became my full-time job. Then the question is here, where have you lived? I've very much stayed in the same place. We moved to Peterborough when we first got on the housing market. We rented for, I think it was like a year, and then we purchased our first new build house, which was in Peterborough in a place called Hampton. It was near a nature reserve, and it was a lovely little first house. And it really was good to get us on the housing ladder because we made money on it. And then we were able to move back to St Ives, which is where I live now, which is my hometown. And we were able to buy my granddad's house and completely do it up because we'd made money on the first house. So that's a bit of advice that I would always say. Doesn't matter where your first home is, as long as you can see it making a little bit of money, it's a good investment. How did your relationship change throughout the pregnancy and after? So you're very hormonal when you're pregnant, and sometimes you do have to say, is this me or is it the situation / partner? Sean wasn't very understanding at the beginning. He won't mind me saying it because he admitted it, and towards the end he got so much better. But I think men will never understand really what a woman's body goes through to create a life, and how tired you are, how hormonal you are, how you lose touch with your body completely, and you're just like, this doesn't feel like mine anymore. And for somebody, I'm very lucky, I've always been a really healthy person, to even have a bit of sickness every day, and I also developed toothache. I was just like, I can't deal with this. My life is too busy for this. And we did have lots of bickering at the beginning, and still now, like, it does change your relationship. It really, really does. And anybody says it doesn't, for the good or worse, is a liar, basically, because it has to change the dynamics. It has to. You know, they are no longer number one in your life. This baby is number one, and you're having to put yourself first if you're a selfless person. And some nights I was just like, I am the typical, like, make sure there's a nice meal on the table. Like, that's just who I am. I show my love through food, like my nana did to us. And it got to the point where I was like, Sean, I don't want to cook tonight. And he was like, whoa, because I've always said Sean is not led by his pee-pee, he's led by his stomach. If he met a woman that could cook better than me, he'd be off. That's what he looks for in a woman. And I was just like, I'm not cooking. So I think he was a bit like nose out of joint, but again, he probably couldn't understand like how tired I was, or like the pressure on your knees, the pressure on your hips. So yeah, like, it did take a lot of explaining to him, through frustration actually, and through tears a lot of the time. Like, I'm just not able to do the things I was able to do. And the arguments over the pregnancy pillow was hilarious. He wants to burn that thing, and I'm like, never. Any moving plans? So we did actually have this house on the market, and it was sold twice, but both sales fell through when all that mortgage thing happened with the interest rates. And to be honest with you, now that we're staying put and we've had to tie into another 2 years, number one, I don't know if we'll have the money to ever move again, because it's crazy out there right now. And business isn't performing as well as it used to, so obviously on paper might not be able to afford the sort of house that we would want to move to. And number two, since we have had to stay here, we've made it more of a home. Having Olive's nursery all set up and stuff, like, having a baby just changed things, because when we were looking to buy before, we didn't know we were pregnant. So the first house that we were going for would have been completely unsuitable. It was a complete renovation again, with no bath, had a shower room. It would have just been a nightmare for a child. So everything happens for a reason there. And in the immediate future, no, there is no plans to move. Would love to know what other YouTubers you watch. So obviously, by now you know, my friend Gemma Miles, my friend Rosie Henshaw, I love watching on here. I also really love watching like family vlogs. I really enjoyed watching those before I even had a family, because I just craved it a little bit. I like watching travel vlogs. I think is it Sam and Elle? They're like Disney vloggers. I really enjoyed their videos. I like Tim Tracker because I love Disney. Who else do I watch on here? I want to go through my phone and tell you, but I don't want to lose this question. I'm trying to think off the top of my head now who else I really... I'm going to end this video and then be really annoyed that I haven't put them in. If I think of any, I'll pop them below who I really enjoyed. Actually died, which actually gave me the perfect excuse to go and find the YouTubers that I like to watch. So I'm really sorry about that. I've got in here the Mitchellacs. How could I miss them out? God, I've been watching them for years. I used to love watching Anastasia Kingsnorth's videos when she had Atticus in them a lot. I thought he was adorable. Amy Rose Walker. Who else is on my subscription that I like watching? Let's have a look. Who else do I like watching? It's terrible that I can't remember them off by heart, but there is so many. Oh, it's M. I like watching her. She's somebody that I found recently. She does lots of vlogs. Who else? Oh, I like watching like true crime. So there's a guy called Making a True Crimer. He's on TikTok. I really enjoy his videos. And then I also watch, this is a strange one, I watch these property videos by Summer and Ben, I think it is. I think that's their name. I watch theirs a lot because I like, just again, going back to the property thing, I like snooping around people's houses. God, that sounds creepy as hell, doesn't it? Oh, Kate Murnane, I like her. Dolly Bobo, that's from years ago. Obviously I love watching Zoella, that's like the OG. I used to love Tanya Burr's videos, Tati and Jeffree Star, I like watching their makeup videos. And I used to really enjoy Lydia Elise Millen's videos. I feel like a bit out of touch with those now because her lifestyle is very different to when I first started watching her. So yeah, I don't watch them as much anymore because I just end up wanting loads of designer stuff that I can't afford, basically. So I feel like you either move with a creator, or you just find that you sort of can't identify anymore. I wish I could. I mean, it'd be lovely, wouldn't it? And the last set of people that I really like watching are the Buckleys. So like James Buckley and Claire, so the guy off The Inbetweeners, he played Jay. They do like family vlogs and I really enjoy them. So the next question I think is like one of the last ones. I watched your trying to conceive video, but a list of advice, like the top 5 things you think contribute to getting pregnant, would be helpful. So I don't know if I can give tips because to me we weren't doing a very good job at it. Although all I can say is the things that we did do. So I never drink anyway, so I wasn't drinking. I did improve my diet that month that we did fall pregnant. I just decided I was going to lose some weight to start preparing for IVF. So I did lose a little bit of weight, so maybe that contributed, I don't know. Sean stopped drinking for years to get his count up, his quality better, sorry. I just believe in positive thinking, but then that is not proven, is it? Like, you can't positively think a baby into this world, sadly. We started taking supplements, so Sean took the what did he take? The Pregnant Care for men, and I was taking Pregnant Care for women. I don't really want to give tips because, like I say, ours was a complete fluke, I believe, and I followed every tip in the book and it didn't work for 5 years. So I don't know. I wish I could give you a magic wand and a magic set of tips, but the truth is I don't know. Anything that we wish we knew about the trying to conceive journey. I think looking back in our situation, I wish that I had just let it go and just stop getting so sad, because it did rule my life. And I remember saying to friends, I felt like my life was on pause for years because I would not do things or book trips because I was convinced, I was like, we're not booking Florida because knowing my luck, I'll get pregnant, I won't be able to go on any rides. I stopped myself doing the things I enjoyed, booking holidays and stuff, because I was just convinced we were going to fall, and we never did, and year after year it just rolled by. And I just felt like from the ages of 30 to 35 my life was on a big pause button, and I just feel like it's quite sad that didn't make the most of those years and just spent a lot of time feeling sad. And in hindsight, I wish I had a crystal ball and knew that it was all going to be okay, because I would have lived a lot happier had I known that, you know what, trust in the divine timing of things, and you're going to get your little girl and it's going to be a-okay. But I think that I was just miserable for so many years because of it. Not outwardly miserable, but just internally just sad for something I couldn't have. And being a typical Aries, we don't like to not get what we want. So it was the one thing in my life that I couldn't control, and I absolutely hated it. So yeah, if I could give myself advice, if I could rewind 5 years, it would be just let it be, and just to know that I was going to get the family that I always wanted would have made my 5 years of trying a lot happier. That is all of the questions. Thank you so much. It was nice to sit down and chat with you about them. But if you do have any other questions that you'd like to know, please drop them in the comments. I do have a video that's really old. I'll try and link it in this actually, that's got like facts about me. It's super cringy, but it's still very relevant because I don't change. I'm one of these people, I don't really like change. I don't change. I'm very much a stickler for habit. So most of them are still very relevant. I just have much smoother skin and a much skinnier face back then. But I remember uploading that video and thinking I was fat. Let's all laugh together. Because we've got problems now. So if you want to go watch that video, please feel free to. And I'm going to go film the... I'm going to go wreck my dressing table. And then I'm going to go film the names that we liked but didn't use. So I'll see you in my next video, and thank you for sticking with me if you got to the end. And yes, like I say, comments below, and thanks for watching.